The distress beacon had been pulsing for 72 hours before Jenny's ship, the Arcturus, intercepted it. In the cold mathematics of deep space, that meant whoever sent it was likely dead, their frozen corpses drifting in the void. But protocols were protocols, and Jenny Chen had never been one to ignore a call for help. Reading residual energy signatures, Edward reported from the navigation console, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Looks like a Vrin cruiser. Heavy damage to the port side." He paused, zooming in on the tactical display. "Jenny, those aren't weapon scars. Something tore through their hull." Jenny leaned forward in the captain's chair, her cybernetic eye whirring as it focused on the wreckage floating 3,000 kilometers ahead. Edward was right. The gashes in the alien vessel's armor plating weren't the clean burns of plasma weapons or the symmetrical punctures of railgun slugs. They were ragged, almost organic, as if something with claws had ripped the ship open like tissue paper. "Scan for life signs," she ordered. Edward's expression darkened as data scrolled across his screens. 37 Vrin aboard, all deceased. Time of death approximately 68 hours ago. He looked up, his brown eyes meeting hers. "But Jenny, I'm picking up something else. Thermal signatures. Something's still alive in there." The hairs on the back of Jenny's neck stood up. In her 15 years as a salvage operator turned emergency responder, she'd learned to trust that primal instinct. Identification? Unknown. The biosignature doesn't match any species in the Galactic Concordate database. Edward's hands moved faster now, pulling up comparison algorithms. "Whatever it is, it's big. Maybe 3 meters tall, high metabolic rate, and..." He stopped, his face going pale. "It's moving toward the Vrin escape pods." Jenny was already out of her seat, pulling on her environment suit. "Arm yourself. We're going in." "Are you insane?" Edward stood, blocking her path to the airlock. "That thing killed an entire Vrin crew. Those bastards can crack steel with their bare hands." "Which is exactly why we need to investigate." Jenny's voice was steel wrapped in velvet. "The Concordate has been screaming for reinforcements for months. They're losing the war against the Devourers on the Outer Rim. If there's a new threat in the sector, Command needs to know." Edward held her gaze for a long moment, then sighed and reached for his own suit. "You know, when humanity joined the Concordate, I thought we'd finally left the age of monsters behind." "We did," Jenny said, checking the charge on her plasma rifle. "We became them." The interior of the Vrin cruiser was a charnel house. Blue blood, the Vrin equivalent, painted the corridors in long streaks, as if bodies had been dragged. Jenny's helmet display lit up the darkness with enhanced vision, showing her things she wished she couldn't see. Vrin warriors, each one capable of bending steel bars, torn limb from limb. Their crystalline armor shattered like glass. "Contact!" Edward whispered, his weapon trained on a shadow at the corridor's end. 50 meters, it's watching us." Jenny activated her helmet's external speakers. "This is Captain Jenny Chen of the Terran Emergency Response Corps. Identify yourself." The shadow moved and Jenny's breath caught. It wasn't one creature, it was 6 of them. Quadrupedal, scaled, with elongated skulls and tails that ended in blade-like points. Their eyes glowed amber in the darkness, reflecting her helmet light like a predator's. "Zithrak," Edward breathed. "The Devourers' shock troops. What are they doing this far into Concordate space?" The lead Zithrak opened its mouth, revealing rows of crystalline teeth. When it spoke, the translation matrix in Jenny's helmet struggled to process the clicking, hissing language. "Humans. We have heard stories of your kind. The Concordate calls you soldiers, but we know better." The creature's head tilted, studying them. "You are hunters, like us." Jenny kept her rifle steady. "The Vryn on this ship. Did you kill them?" "They were prey," the Zithrak said simply, "as are all who serve the Concordat. Soon your kind will learn this truth." "Not today." Jenny's finger tightened on the trigger. Edward moved simultaneously, flanking right as plasma bolts lit up the corridor. The Zithrak scattered with impossible speed, their forms blurring. One leaped at Jenny, claws extended, but she'd already dropped and rolled, her cybernetic reflexes buying her the split second she needed. Her rifle came up, firing on full automatic, and the Zithrak's chest exploded in a shower of superheated scales. "Airlock!" Edward shouted, backing toward the exit while laying down suppressing fire. 2 more Zithrak fell, but the others were adapting, using the ship's structure for cover. Jenny triggered the emergency bulkhead, sealing the corridor behind them as they ran. Through her helmet's rear display, she saw the Zithrak slam into the reinforced door, their claws screeching against the metal. "They'll cut through in minutes," Edward said, already cycling the airlock. "Then we have minutes." Jenny accessed the Vryn ship's computer core, her neural interface translating the alien code. "Scanning their logs now. Edward, look at this." The holographic display showed a star map with red indicators spreading like a virus through Concordat space. Dozens of ships. Hundreds. All destroyed by Zithrak hunting packs in the last month alone. "They're not just attacking," Edward realized, his voice hollow. "They're testing us, learning how each species fights before the main invasion begins." Jenny downloaded the data and set the Vryn ship's reactor to overload. "Then let's make sure they learn an important lesson about humans." The Arcturus was 3,000 kilometers away when the Vryn cruiser exploded, taking the remaining Zithrak with it. Jenny sat in her captain's chair, staring at the expanding debris field, while Edward transmitted their findings to Concordat Command. "You know what this means," Edward said quietly. "The Concordat will mobilize. They'll want Earth to send more than just emergency responders now. They'll want soldiers. Thousands of them." Jenny thought about the Zithrak's words. "You are hunters, like us." She thought about humanity's history. The wars, the genocides, the countless ways her species had perfected the art of killing its own kind. Maybe that's why the Concordat had been so eager to recruit humans, despite their primitive technology. Not for their ships or their weapons, but for something far more primal. "Let them come," Jenny said, her voice cold as the void. "The galaxy asked for soldiers. We'll show them what happens when you teach humans to hunt." Edward nodded slowly, understanding in his eyes. "The Zithrak think they're apex predators." "They were," Jenny corrected, pulling up tactical data on the Devourer invasion routes, "until they met us." In the darkness of space, the Arcturus turned toward Earth, carrying news that would change the war. The galaxy had asked for soldiers. Humanity would send something far more dangerous. Hunters who had spent 10,000 years learning to kill the most dangerous prey in the universe, themselves. And unlike the Zithrak, humans never forgot a lesson written in blood.